So yeah, do you think it's gonna be tough for?
One of the women back from the resistance who was in a concentration camp, her mother said to her, "You've made me suffer with your resistance and all that. I will have a hard time forgiving you. And look at the miserable state you're in."
Tim, I'm sorry, I'm late. You need a second device.
Yeah, you wanna go listen on Jack Sunday?
Yeah.
And I got tired of setting up my own setup every single time I see.
Welcome, everybody. Come on in and pull up a chair. Welcome all, welcome to our September meeting of the Arlington County Democratic Committee. Got a lot of excitement going on tonight. This is our next to last meeting before the November election. We've got a lot of work to do, 62 days before election day. And I think maybe 16 days before early voting begins. So we're getting close. Despite new leadership in the CDC, we still recommend if you're feeling immunocompromised, wear a mask or join us at home via YouTube. Make sure you're up to date if you're able to on vaccines. Arlington Democrats is an open and welcoming community. Everyone is welcome here. So, how many new people do we have in the room today? Please raise your hand. Well, a big round of applause for all the new folks. Thank you so much for being here. You know, we've got some people coming out from DC tonight. We've got people from Fauquier County here tonight. Democrats work together. All right, so we got a little bit of business up front. And first things first, we have a new tech vice chair for approval, Connor Toth. Connor, if you could raise your hand. Big round of applause for Connor. Do we have a motion to approve? Second? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Feel free to speak up. All right, Connor, you're in. So we got a couple other things. Tonight's a working night. We're stuffing our vote by mail envelopes tonight. If you're able to help out over here, I know it's a lot of fun. I see a lot of folks in the back of the room that maybe want to help. We're going to stuff about 2,500 envelopes tonight. And before we get started with the regular meeting, I want to invite Francisco up here from Fauquier County to give us a couple words about what they're doing out in Fauquier. Francisco, come on up here.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for hosting me. I'm Francisco Margreo. I know a few of you. There we go. I know a few of you. I used to be a proud member based in ECF, precinct captain in some urban outreach. For now, I'm Fauquier. I'm the head of outreach in Fauquier County. On the personal side, I run an artificial intelligence startup, Helios out of Tyson's. We have two babies, a 4.5-year-old boy and a 3-month-old girl. So you're probably wondering to yourselves, what the hell is he thinking? Why is he sitting on the outreach show in Fauquier County when he's got a newborn and a startup? In Fauquier County, we're not as lucky as Arlington is to have Democratic progressive leadership. There are no accidental Democrats in Fauquier County. And so we are, despite not being as lucky as you are, people in Fauquier County are just as impacted by Trump's policies. We had our own outreach meeting a couple hours ago. One of the residents we were talking to, third generation Latina, her son is at the Fauquier County High School, is highly autistic. And so on his transcript, it says English nonverbal. And like me, he's got a Latino last name. She's terrified that ICE can start targeting students that have Latino last names and are not native English speakers, and that they're going to come in and they're going to deport him because he's nonverbal and he won't be able to advocate for himself. And so she's going to change her son's last name and her own last name to something that isn't Latino sounding to hide herself, despite being a third generation American citizen. So that is really why I'm here. We need your help. There aren't as many Democrats in Proctor as there are in Arlington, and so Steve was really kind to let me talk to you for 40 seconds. The ask really is, if any of you want to volunteer to canvass, if any of you want to come volunteer to be poll readers, election watchers, we really need your help. We have two great candidates in Jack Bennington and John McAuliffe. We have a real shot at flipping one or maybe two of those delegate seats. And I think you guys know this better than anyone, Virginia has probably the best shot of telling the rest of the country that what's happening in America isn't okay. And every red delegate seat that we can flip makes a real difference at the national level and that conversation. So if any of you are interested in coming out, we're not that far away. Warrenton is beautiful, Middleburg is beautiful. And we'll buy you some beers. Let me know. Steve has my email. I'll talk to me afterwards. Thank you so much for volunteering. Thanks so much for your help, and it's great to see you. It's just a big round of applause. Great Arlington Democrat. Sorry to lose them. Happy Fauquier gained them, and I know Kip is going to be doing some calls at least out in Fauquier County. So really happy to help in that effort. I want to recognize our elected officials in the room if I can. I saw County Board Member Marine Coffey's with us tonight. South County Board Chair Takas Karen Tonis is with us tonight. Welcome, Takas. Who else do I have? Anybody else on county? Well, Cam, I see Cam. Let me go to school board for next. Soraya Tapia Hadley is with us tonight. Jim Klingler, Commissioner of Revenue, is with us tonight. Any other? Oh, Bethany Sutton is in the house. Thank you for being here. And a district chair, Margo Horner, is with us. I got to talk this already. All right. Good to have you here, Thomas. All right. We got some upcoming events. So, who am I bringing up for this? Paul, you want me to know? All right. Potluck, September 7th. Is that Sunday?
Yes.
Yeah. ArlDems barbecue and potluck. If you haven't signed up, here's the QR code. It's also on Mobilize. It's going to be fun. Anwar Khalil has put all that together. She's put together a lot of really fun events that have attracted a lot of new people. So we've enjoyed that. September brunch with Bo Bryant. It's been rescheduled. It's now September 27th at noon. Silver Diner. Please join Bo. I know she would appreciate your support for that very important school board race. We've got a really big event coming up in October. It's not an Arlington Democrats event per se, but it is our 8th district Kennedy King dinner. The 8th district, if you don't know, is sort of the way we plug into the state party from Arlington. We elect half a dozen members to be on the 8th district committee. And those folks represent us in Richmond to the Democratic Party of Virginia. It's a really important constituent body of Democrats. This is their one and only annual event of the year. Special guest this year, Robert Garcia. I think he is the chair of the Oversight Committee now, replacing Jerry Connolly from Virginia. So he's really in the hot seat and trying to keep the Trump administration accountable. You do not want to miss this terrific event. Really great prices on the tickets. Scan that QR code, go to the district website. You do not want to miss this really fun event. All right, coordinated campaign. And Deputy Chair is going to come up to relate me.
All right, coordinating campaign can't be here this month. They're down in Richmond, working hard to make sure that we're training volunteers. They're all being trained up on our operations here in Arlington, here throughout the state and in Arlington. But if you didn't know, voila, our ticket. Yeah, How many of you have seen our GoPro? The grip card? Like that grip card looks fantastic, and I think that ticket looks absolutely phenomenal on top of that ticket. We're working hard for Abigail Spanberger, Kazal Hashmi, Jay Jones, our entire slate of delegates, Patrick Hope, Adele McClure, Alfonso Lopez, and our county board member, Thomas Carantonis, and our school board member, Paul Bryant, not to be left out. Wow. But this is who we're doing the hard work this fall to make sure that we're electing. In order to do that, we are opening a new Canvas site to continue to recruit and reach voters in all the precincts throughout Arlington. We're continuing to search for volunteers that can consistently help run the Canvas sites. So if that is you, please get in touch with us. This is vitally important work that we're staffing our sites. Here are all of our organizers, and I know this is a little overwhelming, but it also goes to show how personal we really want this campaign to be. It's all by neighborhood. So take a look and just scan this. Take out your phone, zoom in. I know I can this whenever I'm in restaurants and I'm trying to look at a menu. Text is way too small. Like seriously, I'll give you a minute to do it, but do it. Take out your phone, zoom in, pick out an email for the neighborhood that you're in. And get in touch with one of these people, because this is, this is vitally important that you are connecting with your local organizer. So here are our Canvas sites. Where's Sarah and Kip? The home of Sarah and Kip. There we go. Every single weekend, these guys are champions. Where is Mark Teal? Mark Teal, where are you? That man right there. Thank you so much, Mark. And brand new as of now. We are at Jim Surfy's home. That is in Courthouse Service. Thank you, Service home. That is in Courthouse in Clarendon. So again, with the phone, I'm not bashful. You guys can take pictures of me. That's fine. I understand. But take out the phone. Scan one of these QR codes. Scan the bottom QR code to sign up. All right, and with that, I'm going to invite up our lovely joint campaign committee. I would like to invite up our lovely joint campaign committee.
All right, everybody. Good evening, Arlington Dems. How are we doing tonight? All right, so you've seen this slide a few times now, but we're going to just emphasize it one more time. The joint campaign, we focus on three things. One is pretty much our communications, which is our grip card, which Paul talked about. If you do not have a grip card, raise your hand if you have not seen our grip card. No? Well, guess what? Jesse in the back is holding up a huge stack, and we can get you some grip cards. I keep a few in my car handy so I can pass them out just randomly. Just making sure people know about our election in November. We also do the messenger, we do the sample ballot. We also do field and canvassing, which you heard a little bit about. And to do all of these wonderful things, it takes what? Money. So we are doing fundraising, which you all are helping out. So thank you so very much. All right, so we talked about our grip card. Everybody see it? Everybody like it? Yes. Please thank Yint. If you see Yint, please thank him, because this was definitely a team effort, but Yint put in most of the labor on this one. And then we have our field program, which Austin is going to tell you a little bit more about. We're good? Nothing else?
Just do launch location, give service to Dallas, Courthouse, Clarendon, sign up if you want to have camps out there on weekend.
So I will tell you, thank you, Austin. I have a great opportunity to canvas out of Mark Teal's home. I plan on getting all the other homes. We had a phenomenal group. We have phenomenal coordinators. We had a great time, and there was also food and beverage, which is always a plus. So please, if you haven't signed up to canvas, don't worry. They train you when you get there. It can be a little intimidating, but they'll also set you up with a buddy. So it's a lot of fun, and you'll have a great time, I promise. Okay, now. We want to raise what? Wait, I didn't hear you. We want to raise what? Money, so if you don't know, we actually lowered the price of our gold card this year because we wanted to make it more accessible to others. We also have discounts if you are a young Dem, if you are a senior, if you are a veteran. We also have donated tickets. So some people go online and donate tickets. I donated a few tickets because I want folks who've been doged, folks who aren't quite sure about their jobs or their financial situation to be able to attend. Our goal this year was unprecedented, 175 tickets. So let's talk about how we're doing, friends. So we have sold a total of 167 general tickets. Yeah. But the devil is in the details, right? Devil's always in the details. So 134 of those were gold cards. Yes, which is great. And 33 of those were for individual events. Because some people, they just want to go to one event. Now, some people have told me, yeah, I can't attend all the events. I should buy a gold card. And I say, oh, but you can actually have someone else attend the event for you. We just need to know who. So people have been buying gold cards knowing that your money goes to what? The Democrats, and goes to the Democratic ticket. And so we really, truly appreciate folks who are buying gold cards. Now, Steve told me I have to mention this. We are 76% there. I know. We're almost there, though. We're almost there. So if you have not yet purchased your gold card, please, we have a bunch of QR codes. I know they can be confusing, or come see me. I will give you my personal cell phone number. I will help you make sure you purchase your gold card. I will. You saw me do it at the chili cook-off, didn't you? Yes. All right, so moving on. We also have a little friendly competition going on. Can you guys read that? It's too small, maybe? All right, so we have 7 teams. 7 teams to see which team can sell the most gold cards. We have Takas as a team, Team Takas. Let's give Takas a round of applause. We have Team Susan Cunningham and Bethany Zephyr Sutton. Let's give them a round of applause. We have Team Robert Gold and Chris Taffy. Let's give them a round of applause. I'm gonna skip one and come back. We have myself and Carla De La Pava. You don't have to clap. It's okay. It's okay. Okay. We have Team Mo Bryant. And Jamie Spann is double clear. Let's give it a round of applause. So this is where the friendly competition.
How do we designate?
Oh, I will. Perfect. I'm gonna go to the next slide in just a second and show you how. So right now, Paul Ferguson and Jose Quiroz are in the lead. Dun, dun, dun. Congratulations to them. But should we let them keep the lead? No. Will anyone here help us give other folks some tickets? Anybody? Anybody? Well, let me show you how. So, okay. When you go to purchase your gold card, I need you to scroll all the way to the very bottom of the page. And down there, it says referral code. And you can go ahead and put in the name of the team you want to give credit for your ticket. If you have any challenges doing this, please come see me, come see Austin. We will help you do so. Any questions there?
Yeah,
Yes.
I've already purchased my ticket.
Oh.
And I wanted to get the name of one of the teams.
Come see me and we'll put it in the back end, okay?
Okay.
Fair enough? So that goes for anyone, if you already purchased your ticket and you want to give one of those teams credit, come see myself or Austin. You can also see Tony, you can also see Steve, and we will make sure that goes to the back end. Okay? Thank you, great question. Yes, sir.
Is there a Christine Worley, Chris Gregory or Charles Worley here? You got a Cameron?
Thank you. All right, love it down, perfect. Okay, so real quick, what do you get for your gold card? You get 4 fabulous events. We have already completed 1 event, so stay tuned. First of all, I do want to give a huge shout out. Did anyone here attend the chili cook-off? Yeah, good job. All right, so I do want to thank Jessie Ojeda. Jessie was the driver of the chili cook-off. Jessie. There we go. Jessie did a phenomenal job taking over from Gabe, filling big shoes, but making it her own and making it even better and wonderful for everyone. I want to thank our contestants, our organizers, our volunteers, and our winners. So thank you so much. Who won? Oh, winners are right here. Dun, dun. I can't remember all the categories, but there were great categories, there were great prizes, there were great chilies. We had 17 chilies. I tried to eat them all, but my pepsid just couldn't keep up with me. I just couldn't. There we go. Our next event, Carol, you gotta put your earmuffs on. What first stand? First stand. First stand. So if you didn't know, we're gonna be celebrating Carol. It was amazing. Now, Carol, now I need you to put your earmuffs on. Earmuffs, cover your ears, you can't hear this part. So many people have come up to me and said, I want to speak at the event. But the event is only 2 hours, my friends. So we have Paul Ruiz, our deputy chair in the back. He's got a mic, he's got a camera. If you can step out for just 30 seconds, do a little video clip for Carol. We are creating a video montage, so please don't be shy. I know it's intimidating being on camera sometimes, but you know, it's fun. And it's, where are your earmuffs? Us. And it's so we can celebrate, exactly, so we can celebrate Carol.
Our third event we're having is a refresh of, so typically the Arlington Young Democrats host one of the 4 gold card events. In previous years, it was karaoke based. This year, we're trying a new format, think dinner and a show. So your gold card ticket, not only get you in the door, but it gets you food and potentially a drink. We're working on that aspect of it. Single event tickets are available, but it is a celebration of our community. So think about a toast of Arlington, a series of mini games between AYDs and election officials, an award ceremony, and ending it with a drag show. Supporting our local artists. So if you're interested, join us on Sunday, October 5th at Highline RXR in Crystal City. We're going to be having a 2-hour extravaganza and then kind of a little bit of an after party. That's a secret. So can't let the microphone. That's our third event.
Thank you, Austin. I'm very excited for this event. And Yit has joined us. Yit is definitely showing script. All right, and our Golden Gala is also coming up on October 18th. We have a lot of things in the works right now. We'll have more surprises and information for you later, but please, if you haven't purchased your gold card, you're gonna be missing out, and no one wants to miss out. We don't need any FOMO, fear of missing out, FOMO. All right, so Ollie, welcome. If you've heard about anything that Austin, Andrew, myself discussed and talked about tonight, and you want to get more engaged, come see us. We love more help. We love more energy. We love new ideas. And anything else, gentlemen? Thank you. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Kim. Big round of applause for our joint campaign. 62 days ago, we're really concentrating on hitting those doors and talking to voters. If you haven't knocked on doors yet, please sign up on Mobilize. There's an enormous amount of fun, and it's really, really important. The HE race could come down to just a few votes per precinct across Virginia. Arlington, you know, we know it's going to vote Democrat, but having a high turnout in Arlington is critical to making sure Democrats do well statewide. So we do need your help in Arlington. September is back to school, and I want to welcome up our school board chair, Bethany Sutton.
Thank you. My goal tonight was to have as much energy as can play or more. Very chic, very Chanel. Sorry, Kim, you didn't say it. Like, how is Susan, how am I doing? Are we still with you?
I have.
Okay.
Absolutely have.
Remember, there's still opportunities to sign up for, yes, for team, Sutton County. Okay, I was asked to come and do some back to school, comments this evening, and I'm gonna see if I click this in the right direction. Oh, look, there we all are. As you know, I'm not the executive, so I'm chair of the school board. My colleague Soraya Tapiahatis with me this evening. I'll send any questions to her that I can't answer. Miranda Turner, Mary Cadera, and Kathleen Clark are my colleagues. I am gonna try to race through because I have a bunch of things to talk about, and some of them are really important. So I'll talk fast, and then I will sometimes talk very slow. So I want to show you that these are the pillars of our strategic plan that is guiding everything we're doing in the school system these days. And for the sake of the folks on the tables, I'll just read them quickly. We have student academic growth and success, student well-being, student-centered workforce, operational excellence, student, family, and community partnerships. So those are the 5 areas that around which we are centering all the work in our school system, and the sort of pillars under which we are doing all kinds of things. For the sake of brevity this evening, I'm not going to tell you about all the things we are doing in all 5 categories, but I am going to tell you about some highlights from this previous year. And I didn't print my I'm going to read off the screen because I didn't print my slides out. Under academics, I want to highlight that in Arlington Public Schools, we had a 97.8% graduation rate this past June. And I also wanted to highlight that in our career and technical education programs, most students achieved a 100% graduation. And finally, I want to note that 83% of students in grades 6 to 12 responded favorably in our spring survey to the statement, "I feel challenged by what I learned in class." So the message here is that in the area of academics, we're doing pretty well. With student wellness, I want to say 21 schools reduced their rates of chronic absenteeism. If you're not aware, chronic absenteeism has been an issue across the country in public schools since the pandemic. We have not been immune here in Arlington, but we are working very hard to reduce the rates of chronic absenteeism in our schools. And we had some schools work very hard on that in this past year. I also want to note that we asked students to talk about their wellness in a survey every year in terms of how favorable they feel about their skills in self-management, social awareness, growth mindset, and self-efficacy. And our students ranged from the 40th to the 80th percentile in their responses, nationally in their responses to that survey. So we know that our students are feeling good about themselves. We always want them to continue to feel good about themselves. I'll come back to that in a few minutes. I want to share that we had a 98.5% employee retention rate this past year. So yes, there are teacher shortages across the country. Yes, there are teacher shortages in Virginia. And yes, there are teacher shortages in Arlington, but we are doing a really good job of retaining our employees. And so while we are like everyone else, we lose some teachers every year. Overall, our employee retention is terrific. I also want to note that we do have growth programs. And so this past year, we had 23 assistants who became teachers and 29 substitutes who became teachers, right? Which is also a really critical metric for us in terms of how we're doing in growing our own. In terms of operations, we had 95% on-time bus arrival. That's pretty good for us. It's a little bit, some schools are more like, 90%, some are more like 99%. We want everyone to be growing with our percentage. But, and I also want to note that there were more than 9,000 work orders submitted to our maintenance in this year, and they had an 87% completion rate on those, with of course many in progress at the end of the year. So our maintenance and facilities team worked very, very hard. Our transportation team works very, very hard. Our HR team works very, very hard, as you can tell. I want to also note that not to leave out information services set up automatic translation for our elementary school report cards this past year into 5 different languages. So there's no burden on the teachers to do any of that work. There's no burden on hiring outside folks. We do it automatically. And then in partnerships, I want to say we are at 99.8% contactable with our families. You might wonder, what does contactable mean? 99.8 of the students in our system, we have a person to contact in their house, other than the student. So which is terrific. And then we have a new volunteer system in place. We have nearly 11,800 approved and or active volunteers with our school system. And we always want more. So if you are not part of our system, please come and sign up to volunteer with us. Okay, some quick highlights of what's coming up. As of last week, we have 27,613 students. That goes up until the end of September. We take our official enrollment count for the year on September 30th. We were 99.3% fully staffed with teachers on day one. That was the best we've seen in recent years, and we have a lot to celebrate with that. We are running 137 bus routes around Arlington, and our first week attendance ranged from 96.3 to 97.8%. 97.8%, of course, was on the first day. Then it started to go down a little bit, but also COVID started to come back. So, some areas of focus, some highlights of things that we are going to be doing this year. This is not an exhaustive list. I know it looks like a lot of things, but in fact, there will be more. But I will just say we are doing a whole lot of work in facilities renewal and renovations, with some emphasis there on sustainability. We are working through questions around our suite devices, educational technology and AI. We are working to build more inclusive practices for students with disabilities. We will be having a groundbreaking actually next week for the Arlington Community High School site in Crystal City in the Amazon HQ2 building. We are running a working group on high school schedules. We are realigning our community advisory groups to our new strategic plan. We are continuing to focus on reducing bullying, harassment, and absenteeism. We're doing a holistic review to strengthen our pre-K programs and many more. Okay, this is the part where I may slow down a little bit because it's heading into maybe a little bit of the politics and education. I can click to it. There we go. The top 5 things that Bethany loses sleep over. Okay, you ready? Number 5 is math. No, math. Steve is like math. Math. So post-pandemic, a lot of school districts had challenges recovering in both literacy and math. We have done better in recovering in literacy. We still have some work to do in math. And so it is something that we think about a lot, we worry about, we are working on. And in particular, we want to focus on students with disabilities, English learners, Black and Hispanic students, and students from economically disadvantaged backgrounds. And because those are the ones where we see the biggest gaps. But we do need to do more in this area, and I will say that there are a lot of things, and they're going to come in my numbers 4, 3, 2, 1. There's a lot of things that can distract us these days from focusing on our core academics, and we do not want to be distracted. And so that is why this is something that keeps me up at night, because I want to make sure that we are focusing on core subject areas and closing gaps, and not only on some of these other things. So number 4 would be the national and local environment. And here I want to say that, I think about employment, housing, and food insecurity. I think about the intensity of the national political and cultural dialogue that's going on in our country. And I think about the further marginalization of already vulnerable demographic groups. And the fact that that is creating a really heightened sense of anxiety and distress among students, teachers, and staff in our schools. It is not unlike the pandemic, I have to say. It's not unlike that. The environment that we're in is very intense, and I think in particular, employment insecurity, food insecurity, those are things that directly affect kids' ability to do well in school. And so I think a lot about that, and I'm distressed a lot by the environment that we have right now nationally and locally. Last year, we closed a $40 million deficit to balance our budget. And we did that with some painful cuts. And we anticipate a very difficult budget year again this year. So we continue to be significantly underfunded by the Commonwealth. We expect we will see county revenues decreasing, and we also have the potential loss of federal funds. So we are going to have to dig deep. We are going to have to make some very difficult decisions about how best to allocate scarce resources, I say, while maintaining our commitment to equity in our system. Because sometimes those decisions are going to hit some communities a little further than other in our schools, because we have a very strong commitment to equity. We have a very strong commitment to equitable outcomes, and we need to target our resources where they are most needed to serve those populations. So we will have a difficult budget year. So wish us well. Okay, number two, in case we have to the U.S. Department of Education. You all may not be surprised here that I spent my morning at the Fourth District Courthouse, federal courthouse in Alexandria, where we were having a hearing for our case against the U.S. Department of Education. There's so much I could say. There's also limits to what I can say because we are in active litigation against the U.S. Department of Education. So I would say we are facing a multitude of messages and measures that are coming both from the federal government and from the Commonwealth, all of which are designed to erode public education. The most immediate, most public threat is to our LGBTQIA+ community. We have a transgender student policy that has been in place for a number of years now, and it is consistent with federal case law. Regardless of that, the Office of Civil Rights has decided that we are in violation of Title IX and is requiring us to reverse our policy under the threat of removing our federal funding. So let me say that again. The U.S. Department of Education is requiring that we break the law in order to access funding that has been allocated to us. That is funding that, among other things, pays for special education services, resources for English learners, and school meals. $8 million for school meals is at risk. So we have filed suit. One of the favorite things I have on my phone right now is a photograph of the top page of our lawsuit, and it just says Arlington School Board versus Linda McMahon, West Department. I will likely get that printed and framed and hang it on my wall. I did. Yeah. I did text a friend of mine this week and say it's possible that I have already peaked as a school board member. This may be a high point. It's not a high point, however, and I want to say, let me say a little bit quickly about our transgender policy, because I think there is a lot of confusion, there's a lot of noise around this topic. 2 weeks ago at our school board meeting, we had the Republican candidate for lieutenant governor speak. We are the only district in Northern Virginia that does not require speakers to be from our county. And so we are the only one where she can come do that. Other places she has been outside, like this evening in Prince William County. So there's been a lot of noise, and there's been a lot of things that are said that are not true. So let me just say this. Our transgender policy allows students and staff members in Arlington Public Schools to use the bathrooms and locker rooms affiliated with their gender identity rather than their sex at birth. We have single-use bathrooms in every one of our middle schools and high schools, which means that any student who feels uncomfortable with a multi-use bathroom has another option. We no longer require children to change their clothes for gym class. As of a couple of years ago, we changed our policy, so our locker rooms in our schools, while they are still used, by students in after-school athletics, they are not spaces where students are required to undress during their school day. We have a strong commitment to having every student feel safe, feel like they belong, and be in an environment that is focused on their learning and their success. And as an employer, we want the same for our staff members as well. So, there's been a lot of noise about this, there's been a lot of buzz about this, and we are in the midst of litigation with the US Department of Education on this topic. So stay tuned. Every news channel was there this morning for our hearing, and I expect there will be a lot more coverage as things go along. So what's the number one thing that I lose sleep over? You might be surprised that it's not the US Department of Education and our transgender policy, but you will not be surprised when I say that it is ICE. So I have really deep concerns about the disruption that ICE is causing in our community and a very real harm to our neighbors, our friends and students in our schools. We have protocols in place for our schools and our buses in the event that federal agents seek access to our staff or students. And we have had those protocols in place. We have training for all staff. We're redoing the training this fall so that anybody who needs a refresher, any new staff members, we are going back into all of our schools and retraining on our protocols. We retrained all of our bus drivers this at the end of the summer. But it feels like the wild west out there. It feels like at any moment we could have an incident at one of our schools. And I do say at one of our schools because it will not happen in one of our schools. Our protocols will not allow for federal agents to access, to come into a building or come onto a bus. And I worry every day that we will have some kind of incident. So I think the final word that I would say is that all of these things that I might lose sleep over any given night can move in a more positive direction if we have stronger support from state level leadership. We are desperate for some support from the state. We have a governor who, whenever the Trump administration says jump, he says, fantastic, I will jump. And that means that we are the victims, where other states have attorneys general who are standing up, they're banding together, they're filing suits. We do not. So we are vulnerable in so many ways in Arlington Public Schools to the agenda. Let me put it that way, the agenda of the Trump administration, because it flows straight through the state towards us. So please, go knock the doors, go talk to your neighbors and friends, go out to your county, Henrico, anywhere across the state, anywhere across the Commonwealth. Where else do you want to go, Kip?
We've got two maps from the Arlington Young Democrats and Beyond Arlington that will be featured in this presentation.
So with that, Mr. Baker, am I done? You want me to take questions? Question?
Sure.
Take a question. Okay, yes, sir.
Your slide has budget. What percentage of the budget comes from federal government?
Yeah, so what percentage of the budget comes from the federal government? We have an $845 million budget, and we have about $24 million that comes from the federal. And that funds specifically Title I schools, school meals, IDEA, which is funding for special education. So it's very targeted and it's very targeted to our most vulnerable populations. Yes.
For the state budget, I mean, the budget has been passed, so what is it that can endanger the funding for the state side?
Well, so at the moment, the federal funding that we get flows to the state and the state disperses it to us. So the state is of course not going to cooperate with dispersing it to us, where in another state, perhaps they would. That's one example. I think that the challenge we have is just the general uncertainty at the state level going forward, and the historic underfunding by the state. Virginia is one of the lowest in the country in terms of funding for public education, so we have a lot to catch up on. Especially if we can turn all the leadership blue, then we can make some progress, but there has been very limited progress in the past few years of reversing some of the underfunding, that was revealed. There was a study by it's called JLARC, I'm gonna forget the whole acronym, but it was a very comprehensive study done about 3 or 4 years ago about how the Commonwealth has been systematically underfunding public education. And because we have not yet made as much progress as we would like in turning Virginia blue, we haven't made as much progress in starting to reverse some of those challenges about state funding.
But the actual funding that the state budget has in it should arrive.
The state funding should arrive. At this point, I don't want to knock on wood when I say that. Sure, yes.
Sorry, in terms of the office, well, it's not just confused for like everyone. In terms of why these statewide offices are so important, beyond even the governor, the office of attorney general, this is why they're so important, because the only other entity that could actually defend us and sue the federal government for their overreach, that's actually the job of the attorney general. And that is why we need Jay Jones. Jason Miyares is defending us. Jason Miyares. So that is why we need Jones, and not just in terms of the funding, in terms of immigration rights. You know, Jason Miyares will allow ICE in our schools, will allow our kids to get kidnapped. Jay Jones will not.
Yes, sir.
Just, for canvassing, it'd be great to have a summary of what the policies are. This is one area where conversations are so important at the voting.
Yes, so for canvassing, the talking points about our gender policy, is that what you're saying? Is that
What the parents' policies are?
what our policy is? Yeah, so the school board policy for our transgender students, we can make that available to folks who are against. Right? Sure. Okay, then we'll take one more question and then we're done.
One really important point on the transgender. If you get a question on that, please don't answer that. Don't engage. This is not about transgender kids. This is about cutting the funding to public education. If someone says, well, it's unfair, I don't think boys should be on girls' teams, you can say, yes, and this is not about that. They are doing this to cut our public funding, to cut public education and replace it with voucher schools and private institutions. If that, I would encourage you, please use that talking point. We don't need to get into a debate here. Even though we know that we are doing it to be the most inclusive and supportive school system in the country, which we are, I think. The important thing is to just keep the focus on the impact on the kids. And it's all kids. We need to be inclusive and we need to fund public education. More question?
Nope, we're good? Oh, yes. So what do we do to do outreach to our Spanish speaking population? Is that specific to school safety, ICE, and that kind of thing, or is it to? Okay. Are you giving out Spanish? That's a campaign question, yes.
Yeah, we have translated material.
So in the school system, we have, I would say 90-something% of our materials are all translated into Spanish. And then go out to families in Spanish. We also have, our top 5 languages available, our communications are all available to be translated into our top 5 languages, so. When a school sends a message through ParentsWare to a family, they can click a button and, well, actually, I think they can just set a setting at the beginning of the year, and then it will just arrive in that language. And so we have multiple avenues through which we provide all of our communications in multiple languages. Are we good?
Thank you so much. Big round of applause for Kathleen Sutton. That's what leadership is in Arlington. Thank you so much, Bethany. So important to win each and every one of these races. Thank you, Soraya, for underscoring the point about the Attorney General's race. And thank everybody in this room for all the work that I know you're going to do between now and November 4th. All right, let's see. Outreach. Brian Coleman.
Evening, Arlington Democrats. Good evening, Arlington Democrats. Much better, much better. All right, so do our outreach update. It'll be a relatively short one this month, so we'll look at the next month. All right, so this is our team. As I say, we have nearly 24 different caucuses. So if you're interested in participating, please reach out to me or any one of our wonderful chairs. We have plenty of places for you to get involved. And especially if we're going to the final stretch of the election cycle, it's going to be more important than ever to dig deep and get involved however you can. So really appreciate all your help in the next couple of months. All right, so there's a few announcements. First, September 4th. Tomorrow we have our Labor Caucus monthly meeting. That's going to be virtual at 6 p.m. On September 12th, we have Arlington Democrats, Black Caucus and Latino Caucus joint happy hour at Waterloo in Charlotte from 7 to 9 p.m. September 13th, that's Hispanic Heritage Festival in Fairfax, Virginia, 11 to 1 p.m. And then on the 27th, we've got Clarendon Day Fair, so we'll be tabling that. It's one of our flagship events for the year, so we're really looking forward to people coming out, looking forward to get both registered to vote and get volunteers. So if you're interested in helping us table, please reach out to me. I'll be just floating around in the back. We have a few caucus leadership vacancies, one for our Equality Caucus Chair and Disability Caucus Leadership Board. Finally, we are still collecting donations for the Veterans and Military Families Caucus, right behind you all on the table back there. We're also considering getting more volunteers to help out for our Green Valley tabling. They have a farmer's market out there, so we're looking for more volunteers if you're interested in helping these small stuff job. That I'm going to turn it over to our families chair, Josh.
Thanks, Brian. The event that everyone's been waiting for, the Arlington Blue Families ninth annual potluck picnic, is going to be on Sunday, September 21st. We're still the speakers are still TBD, but we will, as always, have a lot of great food, music, games, and crafts for the kids. And really, the star. I mean, it doesn't even matter what speakers we get because the stars are the alpacas. We'll be here. We'll want to see the alpacas. Hope to see you there. We'll just be getting everyone fired up for the home stretch before the election. And then, of course, we are still doing postcards. Early voting is, we want to get as many as we can out the door before early voting starts, but we're going to be writing postcards right up until mid to late October. So use that QR code to sign up. There's a sign up form on the website as well. But please sign up for the potluck picnic. We look forward to seeing you there.
Guess we'll be doing precinct pops.
Precinct
Thank you. Precinct Pops.
This is our time of year when the precinct captains will be knocking on doors and calling you, asking you to volunteer. Since you're here tonight, you'll be the first in the county to see the messenger. It is magnificent. Thank you to the joint campaign and to Yant in particular. It is small, it's full of information, and it will help remind voters that we have a full ticket and very good candidates that need to be elected. So we also need volunteers to deliver these 400 different routes, 450 routes around the county. If you haven't heard from your precinct captain yet, let me know. I'll be in the back corner and we'll be sure to get you in touch with your precinct captain and a route or more if you'd like to deliver them. Second big event is coming up next month. This we're going to take care of the next couple of weeks because early voting, as you know, starts on the 19th. We want these in voters' hands before we have early voting to start. But while you're talking with the precinct captain, I'm sure you would like to go ahead and volunteer for a position as a poll greeter on November the 4th. It is not too early to get your favorite shift locked away. We have over 750 volunteers we need to recruit for poll reading. So we need you, your friends, and your family. So be sure to call, get in touch with me back in the corner if you haven't heard from your precinct captain, and or you would like your precinct captain to call me, we'll do that. And on the lighter side, we do have a precinct book group. If you would like a little distraction, go on Mobilize and find out where and what we're going to be really talking about. Thank you, thank you.
All right, Brandon Jackson, thanks so much. Kick us off.
Michelle, put that.
Hello. I'm here to talk about voter support. So the first thing is we have all the various voter registration booths at lots of our farmers markets. So if you're interested, there's the QR code, or you could just go out and Mobilize. There's some happening every weekend at different locations. There's definitely one every Saturday at Courthouse. And I've heard that we really need some more volunteers for Courthouse. So please sign up for Courthouse or any other local farmers markets. All right, big news, early voting poll reading. We have all of the shifts set up on Mobilize now. So early voting poll reading starts in Courthouse on September 19th and at Madison Walter Reed on October 21st. So there's different QR codes for the different locations. And I think Madison is pretty full, not 100%, but almost. But we really need people for Courthouse because that starts in a couple of weeks. Also in the back, Mark Teal's got the QR codes back there. If you missed them on the slide, I've got one here. So Rachel Alpin's got one. And we're going to try to have these QR codes set up at the canvas launch sites and the farmers markets. So we can get anybody coming by to try to sign up for early voting. And I would just like to thank all the people who really helped to get this set up this past week. It was a lot of effort, and Kristen Halpman, I don't think she's here, she may be online, but she did a great job setting all this up. Next slide. All right, voter support as far as rides to the polls. If you're interested in volunteering for that, you can reach out to Sue Walton, and the email address is rides@arlingtondemocrats.org. So that's if you're interested in helping out with rides to the polls on election day. And then if you're wondering what's going on over here in the back, Bob Platt is leading the effort to stuff 2,500 envelopes with the RIP cards and letters that will go out to all of our mail-in voters. So those will go out to the voters the day after their absentee ballot is sent out. So if you're tired of sitting, if you want to go back and help with them, please feel free. Oh, you're done. Oh my gosh. Thank you. right, thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Let's see, I think we might have missed a precinct captain. Let's back up. We have a precinct captain to appoint. And Fran, do you have a name?
Yes, Donna Hensford.
Donna Hempstead?
Virginia Harris.
Ah, Donna Hansberry. Motion to approve? Aye. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Welcome, Donna. And now I think next up was Arlington Young Democrats. Sam, let's get there, thank you.
Hey,
You didn't label your slides.
Hey, everybody, I'm Austin Locke. I'm the Vice President of the Arlington Young Democrats. This year we decided to do things a little bit different, so we started taking sponsorships actually, which is why this update is sponsored by the number 63. And you guys are probably wondering why 63? Is that some kind of meme the kids are joking about nowadays? No. It's me, it's purely political. You know I love campaigns. The reason why it's sponsored by the number 63 is that's the number of seats we are hoping to win this year with our campaign plan. And so we actually launched our campaign plan, which will take us from basically now through election day, with our goal being to win the statewide competition for all of the Democratic chapters. And as you can see, every single race that is labeled is somewhere that we are going to be either canvassing, calling, texting, emailing, doing anything under the sun we can to get these Democrats elected here. And the reason why we chose the 6% number is basically I used to work in campaign politics in my early 20s, and there's this belief at the state level that a good campaign can move the numbers by up to 6%. All of these elections were decided by 6% or less for the Republicans. So if we campaign hard, we can flip every single one of these 63 seats, and bonus fact, 2 more. But we're gonna shoot for 63 because really, these are the activities that we're going to be doing for the month of September. They're color coded kind of based on what we're doing. So we have 2 travel weekends, one coming up to Williamsburg this weekend, and one at the end of the month to Plattsburgh. We also have a couple of phone banks scheduled in White, as well as some regional campuses. I mentioned this because if you're interested in joining us on these activities, feel free to scan this QR code. It'll take you to a Google form where you can check information like, I have a car and willing to take people to canvas launches, or what weekends work for you. So scan the QR code, sign up so you can help us win the campaign competition. And if you're a person who's like, hey, I want Democrats to win this fall, but let's be real, I hate talking to people. Don't worry, I've got something for you to do too. You can donate to help make our campaign plan possible, because we have to pay for gas, hotel rooms, and for those of you who know what federal mileage reimbursement is, a trip to and from Blacksburg with a car full of people costs a lot of money to reimburse. So help us pay for that. The next thing is just a review of the recent events that we had. Actually, yesterday we went to our annual with the
That doesn't look like a barbecue.
captions on there. Frank put the photos in that. But yeah, yesterday we went to our annual NAS barbecue, NAS baseball. Not even basically, you know, but our annual baseball game where we paid for the tickets for all of our members. And last week we had our barbecue where the wonderful Thomas Garantonis spoke, to help hype our members up. And then our upcoming events, we have one is at the end of the month, our monthly meeting. We will be doing phone banking for a race throughout the state, TBD which one. VA Whitey is going to tell us that as we get closer. But the key fact is it's going to be taking place in the club room in my apartment. For those of you who've been in my apartment, you know it's kind of cool. So come on, hang out with us. And obviously the Arlington After Dark. I'm going to keep plugging this as much as I can. Single tickets for dinner and the show start at $25 and maximum cost is $35. So anybody knows how to throw a party for it. But other than that, I will go ahead and kick it over to Kip Malinowski with Beyond Arlington.
All right. Thank you, Austin. So beyond Arlington, some of these slides might look a little familiar. This was shown last month. I want to show it again because it still hasn't changed.
that Virginia was decided 4 years ago by 25 votes per precinct. So that means every one of our efforts to knock doors, to make calls, to text voters, to drop messengers, to table, to do outreach, all of that stuff really, really matters. And the Attorney General race was decided by 10 votes per precinct. So this is really, really critical stuff. And actually, I want to pause for a moment here with our coordinated campaign to give and our joint campaign to give a big shout out to all of our elected officials that have been joining our campaigns canvassing. So that is our county board chair, Takas Karantanas, our school board chair, Leslie Sutton, our school board vice chair, Zora Tapia. We've had so many, Delegate Alfonso Lopez. So many have just come to my home alone to go out and knock doors, and then after giving a speech, then going out and knock doors themselves. And that is really, really critical. So there's a few blatant misperceptions that voters have. They're like, oh, we're going to win in Arlington. Well, yes, we're going to win in Arlington, but it matters how much we win in Arlington. If Kamala Harris, if Terry McAuliffe would have gotten the same number of votes that Kamala Harris did in Arlington, Terry McAuliffe very well could have been governor. It was that close and everything. We have the difference. Those blue bubbles at the top of Virginia, Arlington, and Alexandria truly have the difference makers for getting out the vote. So what we do in Arlington is incredibly important for getting out the vote. And the campaign is really, really disciplined and working really, really well, from our school board endorsed candidate, Bo Bryan, to Abigail Spanberger and everybody in between, and especially Jay Jones for Attorney General. I'm going to keep mentioning Jay Jones because he just put out a terrific new ad, which was in the Arlington Democrats newsletter yesterday. Please check it out. It's a great message about fighting back against the Trump administration, standing up for all of our kids, standing up for everybody who's vulnerable or not, but fighting for us against some awful abuses of power. So with that, this slide might look familiar because I copied it from Austin. Actually, no, I'm lying. I copied it for myself. This was in last month's presentation. But wait, don't take a picture yet. I got some names for you. So Tuesday night, we were calling from our home, from Sarah Florence and my home into Loudoun County, and we made more than 500 calls. And I talked to one voter who said, you know what, we've got 6 registered voters in this household, and every single one of them is voting Democrat. Every single one of them is voting Democratic. So then I asked, well, that's fantastic. Now, up and down the ballot, Jay Jones, Galzan Hashmi, John McCollum, you're voting all of it. Yes, yes, yes. Would you, every single one of you, like to volunteer? Well, no, but I think my daughter can. So I think I'll get my daughter in. I was like, well, that's fantastic. One last thing. Can you make sure that each of the 6 registered voters in your household, can they each go find 3 other people to go and be voters? And she said, you know what? I'll do that for you. I'll make sure those 6 go and find 18 total more votes. And this is in a district which, and then this comes from State Navigate, Chad's Nuttycomb's site on predicting elections, and he's now run for several cycles and has a huge, like above 99% accuracy in calling these things. But this is a race that's going to probably be decided by less than 1%. And this is where that field margin that Austin was talking about can make such a huge, huge difference. And right next door is Elizabeth Guzman, who we can regularly canvass for. Stacey Annie Carroll down in Stafford is another one. These are ones that we can easily get to from Arlington every single weekend and get out there and canvass. Lily Franklin, which Arlington Young Democrats and have already hosted an event for, and we've been doing calls for, we've done fundraisers for. We're going to do more calls for her. And Lindsay Doherty. These are all races that we can very much win. If you want to see the big board, this is it here. We showed this last month, but it was the August meeting, and now we're getting to it. The 2 things to note is about 4 of these races were decided by less than 1,000 votes 2 years ago. Kamala Harris won 9 of these districts. There's 13 districts that we're targeting. We can pick up big. And I don't know if you all saw the news, but in Iowa, there was a special election for the state senate in a district that Trump won by 10 points. The Democrat just won by 11 points. That's a 21-point swing. And again, actually, this I want to give credit to the DNC. Yes, everyone's favorite boogeyman, everyone we like that so many in the media like to play. But the Democratic National Committee made an effort to really get out the vote in Iowa in the special election for the state Senate. And they did it incredibly successfully. Already Democrats right now are overperforming how we performed in 2017. There's been 36 special elections. On average, Democrats are performing 15 points better than Kamala Harris. So there's really some extraordinary work. If we get after that in Virginia, we will have an enormous victory. That would be a 12-point victory for Abigail Spanberger, which is what a poll came out just the other day showing. So, how can you do this? This is the phone banking that's going on for my home every Tuesday. We're calling into the most competitive districts that need help. We've got people all around the country calling into these districts. So wherever the coordinated campaign says, here's where we need the most help, that's what we say we can go and call. We've got it set up hybrid, so you're more than welcome to come to our home and deal with our very rambunctious puppy. But you're also welcome to join us online and make calls that way. So yet again, we got another QR code. This goes to a living Google Doc that has all kinds of calling opportunities, all kinds of knocking opportunities, and there's also texting opportunities. And shout out here to Brian Atkins, the president of the Young Democrats, who is the world's best texter, because he found an automated thing that could automatically click and send thousands of text messages. You can learn a great deal, as I always do, on Young Democrats that way, in sending text messages. But this Google Doc is going to be a living document that I'm always going to update with the Spanberger team all across Virginia with the most competitive races. So you can call, you can knock, you can text, but definitely get involved in a big way, because this stuff will make all the difference. And there's just more of these phone banking opportunities. They just recently added this one, calls for Stacey Carroll with Abigail Spanberger. And every call that we make is always Abigail Spanberger, Faisal Hashmi, Jay Jones, the House of Delegates, and any local Democratic candidates that we may be calling for. But this stuff is really powerful. We can win big, and we must win big in November, and we will certainly do it with all of your help. Thank you so much.
Kip Malinowski, big round of applause for Kip Malinowski.
I'm here for if anyone has any questions about signing up.
Absolutely. Thank you, and Sarah, for all you're doing in our canvas location. 62 days remaining. I think that's all we had for the meeting tonight. Don't leave too soon. Thank you for all that you've been doing. Knock on the door, make a phone call, sign up for some of these canvases or out of district campaigning that we're doing, write a postcard, text someone. 62 days to bring this one home, guys. So thanks so much for all that you're doing. The community center makes us be out of here by like 8:45, but stick around a little bit and meet some people and let us know how we can help. Thank you. Oh, and if you want to do a video for see our deputy chair Paul Ruiz.
All right, so this is that's like official. This is
If you ask him, he's got looked at all the links, he's mobilized things. And there's like, he's got them.
Thank you.